This game and this video have lots of flashing lights. Here is your epilepsy warning. Okay, so I have 4 reasons to make this video. Number 1, I'm feeling creative and people have given me a reason to actually put effort into a thing. Number 2, Cyberpunk 2077 is coming out, which is amazing. And 3, Raid World is still going to take some time, and I could not start on a script on a video about farming games. Sue me. I'll save that for the new Animal Crossing game, probably. And number 4, Ruiner is about to become a year old at the time of writing this script, and that's made me realize just how little I've accomplished in the last year. There's probably some funny joke there, but honestly, I'm just pathetic. With that out of the way, Ruiner is a high-mobility, twin-stick shooter atmospheric action game with RPG-style progression and upgrade tree ripped out of Diablo 3, and I guess there's a bit of Superhot in there too. So, Ruiner is incredibly stylistic, and the first thing you'll note about it is probably the aesthetic. The style is some weird mixture of goth/cyberpunk/anime, and the only reason this game cropped up on my radar at all. So here is some footage of me playing it a year ago, just to kind of emphasize exactly how fucking stylish this game is.
Okay. Oh, fuck. Sorry. Look at this shit.
The style is just incredibly up my alley, and if it doesn't fit your tastes, you can probably find a different game that will suit your interests better, but I urge you to continue watching anyway, in case its mechanics will interest you, or you learn to love the style as much as most people have. It's only $20, so, you know. Also, I recommend you play it with a controller. I don't recommend waiting until it's on sale, but I do recommend you buy it if you have moderate to high interest in fast-paced action games, twin-stick shooters, or even just the presentation of the game you're seeing on screen right now. So, this review is going to be quick, all over the place, unrefined, dirty, and hopefully aesthetically pleasing because I like to match my style to the style of the game. So, you are this guy. His name is Puppy, his face is VCR text, and you go kill baddies in increasingly violent ways. You unlock new abilities along the way, and if you're like me, you get gripped by the story and presentation, not the gameplay. The gameplay is solid all the way around, lame dick joke, and I only have a couple of complaints, but it's not something that you could sell on its own. So, you know how Desync used its style and presentation as a crutch to drive up sales? Ruiner uses its style and presentation as their legs, heart, stomach, and brains. Everything is constructed with it in mind. The game is pretty hard, but it's challenging. It's brutal, but it's bloody. It's absolutely fucking bananas, but it's like Chiquita or Duel. What do people like? Do they like things? Let's find out. This game taunts you for dying, though, which is usually pretty funny, but sometimes infuriating. That was painful to watch is one that rhymes that line pretty perfectly. So you've got to be on your toes with Ruiner. There's a bit of mechanical skill involved, but it's mostly just keeping track of everything, which can be fairly difficult and even unfair at times. Because this game is challenging doesn't mean it isn't bullshit sometimes, and as much as I love the game, I can acknowledge that some deaths seem unavoidable, and some deaths will just straight up not be your fault. Another flaw the game has is that the level design is really samey, which fucking sucks because I feel like they were whatever the opposite of creatively bankrupt is. They could have come up with so many cool settings, but the entire game is just factory with red lights going off, factory with red lights going off, factory red lights going off, but ooh, this time there's a white fluorescent light that's kind of flickering maybe. This also sucks because the game rewards exploration, but there's no real innate desire for me to explore these areas. It plays a lot like Doom 2016, in the sense that you basically just have linear corridors in between fighting arenas that all kind of look the same. Oh boy, a square room with flashing red lights. Like, I sure do like flashing red lights and square rooms. Ooh. Ruiner does have enemy variety on its side though. This complements the ability to respect your skill points at any time quite well. Certain abilities only work for melee enemies, some are more efficient for crowd control or ranged enemies, and some abilities get an upgrade later in their path that makes them really good at taking out a specific enemy type. Another thing, the game's world building is completely spot on, but its storytelling is just god-awful, which is kind of indicative of the game as a whole. So many great ideas let down by mediocre execution, which is weird because the studio has former Witcher and Dying Light devs on it. I guess that joke doesn't make much sense if you don't know my opinions on those games, but my hope is that that comment gives it away. Another issue is the boss design though. Most are pretty good, including this dude who you fight early on, which I also have a clip of me playing a year ago. But then there's Mother, and just like mine, she's a total bitch to deal with. She has this laser that drains your health and your energy. I defeated her by shielding during the multi-dash, and I defeated the whole game using the multi-dash, actually. Using the normal dash is awkward for me, because it's based on your directional input, not where you're facing, with no option to change that. As far as I can tell, it's free to use, has a longer distance, slows times, and is a multi-dash. I only use it for a single dash, but the ability to target and the ability to slow time for free is nice. If you multi-dash, I think it takes up energy. And the key with Ruiner is to experiment. The ability to respec at any time should not be overlooked, and the combat doesn't have one most effective strategy. You should play RUINER like a bullet hell game, almost. Combat is a puzzle. Combat is something you work out and you find the most efficient way to deal with any given arena. The challenge is a lot more about avoiding enemy attacks with your movement options and effectively dealing damage back to them at the same time, like Ori in the Blind Forest, or navigating the current political climate. If you don't have the right mindset going in, the game will probably feel like a slog. It'll probably feel super unfair, and it will likely make you feel worse than that one time you really let somebody down when they were counting on you. They only had you, and you had one job, one thing that you had to do for them, and you blew it. Wait, that wasn't funny at all. Okay, the controls are really weird because it's isometric, so if you're using a keyboard, holding D actually puts you at a somewhat, like, southeast angle. I can't 100% recommend using a gamepad, though, because the laser is faint and also red, like everything else in the goddamn game. Also, you can perform brutal finishes on enemies for a fire rate increase and probably something else. The game isn't very clear on what it does besides look cool and make you feel like the skull-splitting VCR face slave puppy that you are. Smash like if that describes you IRL, you'll be in good company.
Try me.